So why did I decide to make a Christian YouTube channel for atheists? And I know that's going to sound like a pretty goofy idea to atheists out there. And if you've seen some of my previous videos, I've touched on it, but I have to make this video to put everything in this channel into proper context, and then also the future videos. And so I'll go ahead up front and admit, if you're alive, if you're a skeptical person in October of 2019, being a atheist is the most logical conclusion. I'll go ahead and agree with you. And then, being a biblical Christian, the burden is on us to prove that it's true. So I'll go ahead and grant that. But with that being said, atheists are atheists for a whole lot of different reasons, just like Christians become Christians for a whole host of reasons. And we like to think as atheists, I was an atheist just about 2 years ago. We like to think as atheists, everybody's taking a look at all the evidence and come to an objective conclusion that atheism is true. Well, that's not the case. There is a lot of that, but that's not the case all the time. And there's a lot of people who are atheists because for emotional reasons or struggling in life, just having hard circumstances. And I understand that. I empathize with that. And that's one of the main reasons I want to make this video, is because if you've seen some of the past videos, I served in the military, but I'm actually medically retired from the military. And in 2007, I was diagnosed with a very severe, extreme case of OCD. And in 2014, I was finally medically retired from the military. And what this OCD is, they deem me to be housebound, right? And to put that into context, if you see where I am right now, this is actually my parents' house. This is a house that I grew up in, and this is the basement of the house. And when I was serving in the military, they renovated the basement into an apartment for my grandparents when I was in the military. And now I've moved back home. So I'm literally living in my parents' basement. I'm not complaining. I'm not looking for sympathy or anything. This is just to put these videos into context. And it's an amazing place where I live, and I have the most amazing family, support people you could ask for. And but to put it into context, what housebound is, see, I'll have family, cousins, good friends that are up there visiting with my parents, and they'll be, these are some of the nearest and dearest people to me, and they'll be, 5 linear feet away from me, and I can't visit with them. That's what this anxiety is, or what this OCD is. And, I'm back in my hometown, and I'm within 25 miles of, my childhood best friends and other family, and I don't get to visit with them. So I say all that to say that, I can empathize with people that are struggling. I know, I have tons of friends of mine from the military that are struggling with PTSD or whatnot. And those are my first concern, the people that are struggling, because, those are the people who are at risk of doing something stupid. And I'm just wanting you to know, see, this happened when I was 26 years old. I just turned 38. I didn't want to see my 27th birthday. I didn't want to see my 28th birthday, anything. So I know what living in that constant mindset of ending it all is like. And what I want to say is you can come back from that. Like I'm a living example that you can come back from that. I'm not saying I'm perfectly fine by no means, but you can come back from that utter despair that you're in. But again, that was something when I was struggling that I would push it was something that really made me an atheist stronger, is that there's no way, if there's a God that exists, he would allow me to be dealing with this, be going through this kind of crap, and just understand that is not the case whatsoever. That would have been a terrible thing for me if I'd have decided to do something stupid in that mindset and get on the other side and realize what I was facing. And so you understand, that's the reason that I'm so against religious Christianity as opposed to biblical Christianity, because I can't go to a church. I literally cannot go to a church. And there's this societal dogma that church is mandatory. You got to give 10% of your money. All that crap is religious Christianity. And I've touched on that on the very first video, but that's why I'm so adamant about that and bringing that up, because that was one of the things that kept me from ever even looking at the Bible to see if it was true. And I know there's atheists that are out there that maybe you have maybe you're working 2 jobs, maybe you have a few kids, and you're like, I can't, I'm not going to be a part of something where I got to give 10% of my money. I got to spend all this time at a church when I have to be raising my kids. So that's why I'm against religious Christianity and want to show that what this Bible is about is nothing like what you've been seeing on TV. So let me pivot now to my skeptical brothers and sisters out there. I've said it before, and I always say it. Biblical Christianity is about truth. Nothing more, nothing less. It's only about truth. That's what the Bible is about, is truth. Now, that should sound crazy if you're a skeptic, and I agree with you, and I understand why that is. So when I say truth, the definition of truth I'll use is what's the correspondence theory of truth, right? Which is, truth is that which corresponds with reality. Truth is that which is real. That's the most accepted or most widely accepted definition, and I agree with that. And that's what I'm saying. The Bible is true from beginning to end, all the way, start to finish. Now, again, that should be the most absurd thing that you've heard on this video so far. And I understand why you believe that. And I know you're going to think I'm taking that on faith. I'm not. I'm saying it's objectively true. So how did I come to that conclusion that the Bible is true from beginning to end? And it's really simple. It's just like it says at the front of the video, man. I question everything. I question everything that I've ever been taught, ever learned, right? So let's do a thought experiment right quick. If this is objectively true, that would mean that any knowledge that you've gained, anything that you believe that contradicts this is necessarily taken on faith. You're necessarily taking somebody's word for it, whether it be something scientific, metaphysical, philosophical, you name it. You're taking it on faith, right? And the only way to get to this truth, if this is literally true from beginning to end, is to question everything that you've learned up to this point. And that's what I did. It sounds ridiculous, and it is ridiculous for a lot of people, but not for somebody with OCD and somebody that's stuck in their parents' basement with all the time in their world on their hands and a brain that won't ever sit still and stop. So that's what I've been doing for the last 2 years, is questioning everything I've ever learned about everything. And that's really the only thing I can think of that would keep any skeptical-minded person from finding the objective truth of the Bible. And that's, what are you willing to question? And if the answer is not a resounding everything, then you need to do some soul searching, because you're not a skeptic. You're a biased observer, all right? And every atheist should question the Bible front to back. You should question the supernatural or any religious text. But are you willing to question mainstream science with the same veracity? And if not, why? Now, I'm not talking about the scientific method, because that's the only way to discover the truth of this, is by using the scientific method. I'm talking about questioning all these scientific and metaphysical conclusions that's been force-fed on society for the last 100 years. Are you willing to question those? So in wrapping this up, it should be pretty obvious that I don't have a clue what I'm doing when it comes to this video editing and digital media. I'm just trying to learn it on the fly. And I'm wanting, in the comments from the atheists to give me suggestions on how I can make these videos better and make them more appealing to a wider range of atheists. And whoever this subscriber is has been hands down the best commenter. And he and I have been going back and forth since the very first video. And he made a good suggestion that I need to quit putting all these labels on atheists, because I haven't brought anything to the table in terms of evidence that the Bible is true. So for me to label an atheist as anything other than a skeptical person is hypocritical. And I completely agree. And with that being said, whoever you are, the subscriber, if you shoot me a mailing address to my YouTube email address, and I'll send you this pen, man. And I'm constantly making something, woodwork, leatherwork. I'm constantly working on different things, and it's fun to be able to share that kind of stuff. So I'm in a very fortunate situation that I received disability, and being a housebound person is a very frugal lifestyle. So I don't need any money for I'll never have a Patreon page. I'll never monetize these videos because I don't need the money, and it's way more rewarding to give stuff away than it is to charge money for it. And I'm going to be giving stuff away in future videos. And I started thinking about like what would be the criteria to be eligible. And this is the criteria. You have to be an atheist. You can't be a personal friend of mine, and you have to be a subscriber. Like half of my subscribers are my are my personal friends. But the reason you have to be an atheist is because it's one thing to say that, Jesus Christ can save lives or whatnot, but just to hear the words, but it's totally different when you can hold something tangible in your hand from somebody whose life has been changed. So again, hope y'all like the videos, and if you do like it, please hit the subscribe button, and yeah, hope you got something out of it.